Hello everyone, this is Dr. Frank Tianxie, your instructor for Marketing Qualified for Advertising and Promotion. This is Chapter 21, and this is the final and last chapter lecture for this class, evaluating the social, ethical, and economic aspects of advertising and promotion. Okay? Advertising and promotion viewpoints. Okay, there are the proponent arguments, and there are the critic arguments about advertising and promotion. Okay, the proponents say that the advertising provides information to consumers. They encourages higher standard of living. They promotes competition, and they helps new firms enter a market, and they create jobs, of course, jobs for the industry people. The critics would argue that there is more propaganda than information, and advertising creates consumer needs and thoughts, and promotes materialism, insecurity, and greed. Do you agree with these or not? Which side do you agree? Okay, there's no clear-cut answer to this, or correct and right answer, right or wrong answers, but it's just something for you to consider. Okay, about the advertising promotion. There are ethics in advertising promotion. What is ethics? Ethics are the moral principles and values that govern the actions and decisions of an individual or a group. Okay? Not all issues can be regulated. We know that, right? A marketing or promotion action may be legal but not ethical. Okay? Could be legal but not ethical. Okay? And so marketers must decide the appropriateness of the actions when you face a situation like that. Okay? For example, drinking, promoting responsible drinking. Right? This is Miller, the Miller breweries. They actually advertise to promote, responsible drinking. And of course, they promote their own, beers as well. And it says here, yes, you influence your kids. No, they will probably never admit it to you. Okay? When you come to your kids making decisions about alcohol, you have more influence than you think, okay, about kids underage drinking. There are shock ads like this one here, United Colors of Benetton. This is a very famous, notorious clothing company. They actually use someone sentenced to death, jail inmate sentenced to death, on their advertisement. It's quite a shock. It's shocking, but it's ethical. It's the right thing to do, right? Untruthful or deceptive advertising, yeah. From the consumers, because consumers don't trust advertising as much, right? They rely on word of mouth because of untruthful and deceptive advertising. They may find ads intrusive, they find the relevance too low, and they trust websites slightly more. Yeah. For industry, the industry is a problem here, right? There could be deliberately, untruthful. Okay? They could give false and misleading claims, and they may have faulty sweepstakes. They may provide too little information about something, and they could be over puffery or embellishment. Okay, so there could be problems, with industry. Okay? Advertising as offensive or in bad taste, for example, and there are some objectionable products, okay, such as condoms, feminine hygiene products, women's undergarments, hemorrhoid products that kind of like to some people are objectionable. Okay, the sex appeals, the use of sex appeals, in the ad, and the shock ads, like this one here. And what's your opinion about this ad? This is the ad for Airwalk sneakers. they have this woman, knee on the floor, presenting this pair of shoes. Okay? Is this woman portrayed as a sex object? Okay? Does this ad contain cues that are sexually suggestive? Right? Does this ad present an image of sexual submissiveness? Okay? What do you think? Okay. Do you agree with that or not? What's your opinion on this ad? Okay. And look, advertising sex appeals, right? When we talk about sex appeals, right? This is a study about the attitudes of consumers toward sex in advertising. You can see here, right? This gray color is for women, response from women, and this you can see light pink or this pink is for men. Okay. See, I like ads with sexual themes. You can see women disagree. 48% men will agree with that. So, obviously, if you're an advertiser, if you advertise toward your target audience is men, you may want to use sex appeals. But if you're targeting women, you probably don't want to use that because they don't like it. Okay. And ads with sexual themes make me purchase a product. You can see women 3%, men only 8%. So it's not very persuasive, right? Not very effective in persuasion. Ads with sexual themes make me look at them. For women, only 28%. For men, 63%. So you get attention for men more likely, almost twice as much as possible, as much as women. Okay? There's too much sex in advertising. Here in this case, 58% of women think so, 29% of men think so. Okay? Ads with sexual themes promote a general deterioration of moral and social values. 42% of women think so, and 25% of men think so. Ads with sexual themes that shows female models are demeaning to women. 34% of women think so, and only 14% men think so. Ads with sexual themes that show male models are demeaning to men, right? 21% more women actually think so than 7% men think so. Ads with sexual themes are a sign of general deterioration of moral and social values. 43, almost half women think so, but only 20% men think so. Ads with sexual themes show that we are developing a more natural relationship with our bodies and our sexuality. Only 14% of women think so, 28% men think so. Ads with sexual themes make me remember a brand, not very effective with women, only 11%. Maybe a third of men agree with that. Ads with sexual themes pose a threat to the proper upbringing of children. Almost half of women think so, only a quarter of men think so. Okay, so you can see there's an interesting disparity between the genders, as to their attitudes toward sex in advertising. Okay? It's good something you want to keep in mind. Okay? Advertising and children's TV watching behaviors. Okay? In America, children watch an average of 22 hours of TV per week. 22 hours, that's a lot. Huh? They see up to 30,000 commercials every year. 30,000 commercials. 80% of ads targeted to children cover things like toys, cereal, candies, and fast food. Okay? Perspective on ads for children. Advocates argue that the children lack the knowledge and skill to evaluate advertising claims, and they cannot differentiate between programs and commercials. But marketers argue that children must learn through socialization, and they must acquire skills needed to function in the marketplace. What do you think? Okay? Think about it. And also social and cultural consequences. Right? Does advertising encourage materialism? What do you think? And does our advertising encourage materialism in our society? I would say, maybe to a certain extent, at least, right? What do you think? Does advertising make people buy things they don't need? What do you think? I think it does. Right? I think advertising does make some people, vulnerable people, they go buy online shopping, TV shopping, they buy so many things that they don't need. And yep, advertising may be guilty, to a certain extent in this regard. Is advertising just a reflection of society? Or society a reflection of advertising? Okay? I need you to think about that. Okay? Does advertising affect society? Okay? Is advertising a reflection of society, or is society a reflection of advertising? This is actually a good argument there presented here. Okay? You can think about it, right? Targeting specific markets. Everybody's work is equally important. Talk about this here. Levi's advertising. Okay? Is it right or wrong? Okay? Do advertisers control the media? Right? Advertising are the primary source of revenue for newspapers, magazines, televisions, and radio. Okay? Because without advertising, they cannot survive, basically. Okay? There is a media's dependence on ads for revenue that makes them vulnerable to control by the advertisers. Okay? Advertisers may exert control over media by biasing editorial content, limiting coverage of certain issues, or influencing program content. Okay? That's possible. Okay? Can media resist advertisers? Okay? It's hard, right? The media must report the news and fairly and accurately to retain public confidence. And advertisers need the media more than the media need any one advertiser. Okay? That's why media maintain separation between news and business departments, the wall. They're supposed to have a wall within the company, within the media company that separates business and advertising. Okay? News and business departments. So they're supposed to, even if there's a bad news happening to a company, even though the company may be your client, but you're still supposed to cover those bad news. So there's supposed to be a wall between your news and the business departments in the media company. Okay? The social value of media. Okay? What is the social value of media? Like you have those also media portraying things happening in our world today, in our society today. Okay? And what about the economic effects of advertising? Economic effects. Advertising makes advertisers ask or argue that advertising makes consumers aware of product and services. That's probably true, right? And also advertising provides consumers with information to use to make purchase decisions. That's probably also true. It encourages consumption, fosters economic growth. True, right? It leads to economies of scale and lower prices because of competition. Okay? So there is an economic effect of advertising, obviously. Okay? And the economic impact of advertising to consumers, consumer choices, it affects consumer choices in differentiation, right? And in brand loyalty, right? And in competition, it raises barriers to entry in competitions or economies of scale. In product costs and prices, advertising is an expense that increases product costs, that's for sure. It also increases differentiation. Okay? Let's summarize the economic effects. Advertising equals market power. Yeah, it does change consumers' tastes. It lowers sensitivity to price. It builds brand loyalty. So it results in higher profits, it reduces competition, it leads to higher prices, leads to fewer choices. Okay? And advertising equals information. Okay? It provides useful information, it increases price sensitivity, it increases competition, and then it builds pressure for high quality, has pressure for lower prices, and also forces inefficient firms out of business. Okay? So the value of advertising, the way the great brands get to the great brands, get to become the great brands through advertising. Okay, that's what the Intel advertising is saying, not in the advertising industry is saying, but right. And here, finally, and there is this positive effects of advertising, written by Leo Burnett. He's a famous, legendary person in the advertising industry. Well, normally I would ask a student of mine in the class to read it, but I guess now I have to read it. So, excuse me, I'll just have to read it, okay? The positive effects of advertising. To me, it means that if we believe to any degree whatsoever in the economic system under which we live, in the high standards of living, and in high employment, advertising is the most efficient known way of moving goods in practically every product class. My proof is that millions of businessmen have chosen advertising over and over again in the operations of their business. Some of their decisions may have been wrong, but they must have thought they were right, or they wouldn't go back and to be stung twice by the same kind of bee. It's pretty safe bet. It's a pretty safe bet that in the next 10 years, many Americans will be using products and devices that no one in this room has ever heard of. Judging purely by past performance, American advertising can be relied on to make them known and accepted overnight at the lowest possible prices. Advertising, of course, makes possible our unparalleled variety of magazines, newspapers, business publications, and radio and television stations. It must be said that without advertising, we would have a far different nation, and one that would be much the poorer, not merely in material commodities, but in the life of the spirit. Okay, do you agree with that? Okay. Okay, I think that's all I have for this chapter, and that's all I have for the whole lectures for this class. And it's been my pleasure in teaching you this class, and I look forward to seeing your individual presentations and group presentation and the conclusion of this class, of this semester. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again somewhere.